Please.
Some people say that people have landed on moon.
Sorry?
Some people say that scientists have landed on the moon.
Can people say that scientists have landed on the moon? Well, yes, some people say that. Srila Prabhupada expressed great skepticism of at that time, when was it, 69 was it? 68, 69? Something like that. The first, Neil Armstrong, was it? There's also a famous singer called Neil Armstrong. I guess it wasn't the same one. I guess he's not so famous here. Is he famous here? Anyone know? Neil Armstrong. He was a very famous singer when I was a kid, back in the Stone Age. So Neil Armstrong, in a well-rehearsed act, said, as he made his first steps on the moon, that is one small step for man and one great step for mankind, although we don't really know what the great benefit for mankind has been by the so-called going to the moon. Srila Prabhupada expressed great skepticism about this, and according to some figures which are out there on the internet, where else, about 40% of the people in America nowadays also don't believe that they went to the moon. As I see it, Srila Prabhupada's insistence on this point, or the fact that he made an issue of it, was because he wanted to uphold the veracity of Vedic knowledge. Because according to Vedic knowledge, one cannot go to the moon by mechanical means. One has to acquire merit, eligibility to go there, as we find in the case of Trishanku. Who's heard of Trishanku? In Gujarat, people in general know Trishanku? No. I saw in one of the Gujarati papers once something about, and the headline that something about the government being in Trishanku Avastha. So that's why I thought people in Gujarat, they might. That's a saying, but they don't know the meaning of it behind it. You used to see in the Indian newspapers things like Singhavalokanyaya. I remember seeing that in a newspaper in India. It was written in an English paper. Nowadays people have no idea what all these things mean. So anyway, Trishanku was a king who, well, it's a long story. He was cursed to become a Chandala, and by Vashishta, and Vishwamitra, who was always in enmity with Vashishta, said, I'll send you to the heavenly planets. So he pushed by his punya. Vishwamitra had so much shakti from his punya that he pushed Trishanku up. But from the upper side, the demigods were pushing him down because they didn't want to let him in. You have to be qualified. So then Vishwamitra started creating a whole other universe to let him in. And then in the end he got stuck halfway in between the earth and the heavenly planets. So the point is, one cannot go there simply by mechanical means. That was the point that Srila Prabhupada wanted to say there. To uphold the veracity of the Vedas, of the Puranas. So have they gone to the moon? Seems unlikely. Even if they did, what's the benefit? How have you benefited? How has anyone benefited? What's the benefit? Better go back to Godhead. Why go to the moon? You can go back to Godhead by chanting Hare Krishna. That's certain. Going to the moon? Unlikely. I mean, the reason that 40% in America don't believe, even if it's only 10%, that's quite high, seeing as there's no official propaganda in that regard. There are so many reasons. I mean, you can look on the internet to see there's so many things. For instance, the Moon Museum they have somewhere in Texas or somewhere. They show the capsule that was supposed to have landed on the moon, or a rehash, or a simulation, not exactly a simulation, what's the word? A replica of that. But the problem, one major problem with that is that the door to go in and out of it, you can't go in and out of it with a spacesuit on, because the spacesuit is so thick. So that's one problem. I mean, how did they get out to jump around on the moon? And things like photos which are blown up, the reflection on the visor, how the shadows are going in more than one direction. Seems like they had a lights in different directions, and then you blow up on the visor and you see the reflections of different equipment, and there are so many things. They didn't have in those days the computer technology to guide if it's taken off. If you take off with a missile here, it has to be exactly accurate. Even if they say the moon is in the orbit that it is, if you're inaccurate, even slightly, like by maybe 1,000th of a degree in the the trajectory, then you're going to miss the moon, because just like if you aim from here to 100 meters away, if you're slightly out, then you're going to miss. What to speak of the moon, which they say is how far? 220,000 miles away, something like that, and it's only a little ball. So if you're slightly out of it, and taking off with a rocket, I mean, it's no more advanced technology than lighting fireworks, actually, isn't it? You put a rocket and boost it, goes up like that. So it's a very gross kind of technology. So I mean, there are so many problems. It's the Van Allen radiation belt. And now Van Allen says, well, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe he's afraid of being thrown out of the scientific community. Like that. There are so many problems with it.